When do you think it started, Fez?
Washington's 106.7 WJFK. Here starts Ron and Fez.
Okay, good. You're in for that, right?
Ron and Fez.
Broadcasting live. It's the Ron and Fez Show. And I'm your announcer, Mikey D. And now, let's introduce your hosts. The guys who think Martha Stewart stockholders would love to see if stripes really make her look fatter, as long as they're prison stripes. Here they are, Ron Bennington, Fez Watley, radio's fashion police.
Ron!
It's more cowbell. I could have used a little more cowbell. I gotta have more cowbell. Action.
Buddies, it's the Ron and Fez Show. I'm Ron, there's Fez.
Hiya, buddies. Good evening.
Fezzy, let's get into it. Here is my favorite story of the day. Phil Spector gave an interview to Esquire magazine and gave up the details about the death of the actress that Phil claims he brought home from a club and then sat by while she killed herself. Police now say that Spector hasn't given them this many details as he talked to the magazine about. In fact, they've been wanting to interview Phil Spector since February 3rd, the last time that he talked to him. Spector tells the magazine, she kissed the gun. I have no idea why.
Now, the police in California somehow need to get with Esquire magazine and say, how are you getting the big interviews? How do you get the scoops?
Either that, Fezzy, or we give Esquire magazine badges, since they seem to be the only ones who can talk to people. What is it about the police in California that cannot convict anyone of murder?
They botch everything. Phil Spector telling Esquire magazine this girl, Clarkson was her name, grabbed a bottle of tequila and a gun. He didn't know where she grabbed the gun from, and put it in her mouth and pulled the trigger.
Because that happens all the time. Because when I bring a broad home from a bar, and I turn around and she's kissing my gun. And why is he using slang? Wouldn't you be more upset with, you wouldn't suddenly say, hey, I don't know, she snuffed herself, she whacked herself out, she kissed the gun.
And the local police recorded it saying, okay.
Let me tell you something. She put on a wet T-shirt contest with blood, baby, blood.
What does that even mean, Phil?
Anybody in music creepier than Phil Spector?
If there's anyone creepier than Phil Spector, that's going to be hard to out-creep.
And remember, Joey Ramone is dead.
Oh, damn it, that's right. Pete Townsend seems to be going in that direction.
Well, Pete was found kind of innocent, more or less.
If you want to go in that vein, Gary Glitter, pretty creepy.
All right, let's go Americans then. Let's try to really focus on California.
This isn't California, but it's creepy to me nonetheless. Lou Pearlman, who put together In Sync and O-Town. That is a creepy old guy who surrounds himself with teenage boys.
I saw Gene Simmons the other day on Cribs, and he still oils and weirds me out. He's literally like a lizard in a suit. Like if you could somehow put a suit on a giant lizard, that would be Gene Simmons. But again, if you are going to kill your wife, if you are going to kill your girlfriend, be smart, take a vacation to California, and do it there.
Make sure it is in the state bounds if you're going to kill. All right, Ronnie, is this a Ron and Fez who cares? Now, the New York Times editors have quit over that fraud scandal. So the editor, Hal Raines and Gerald Boyd, they've stepped down because of that Jason Blair journalistic fraud scandal. He was the guy who was making up sources, plagiarizing other articles, and basically lying constantly.
He was an idiot, this guy.
And then laughed about it later on.
Laughed about it and basically said, I couldn't believe how much I got away with. Uh-huh.
Now, on the news today, they're making a huge deal about these guys stepping down amongst the scandal. And I'm just wondering, is this really a big deal? They actually called it the journalism version of Nixon and Agnew resigning.
I see this Hal Raines and Gerald Boyd as the Ken Stevens and Jeremy Coleman of the New York Times. All right, they hired the guy. He was a ham and egger. What? Okay, who hired these two guys then? Fire them too. Keep it going if that's your whole premise.
I say it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
Speaking of which, Fezzi, Martha Stewart published an open letter in USA Today and on her website proclaiming her innocent and asking for letters of support from her fans.
Now, I wonder if this is going to be a new trend with celebrities. Sean Penn and Martha Stewart both in the past week have taken out full-page ads.
And these ads are like $150,000 a piece.
They're hugely expensive.
Literally, for the same thing, call somebody up and say, I want to do an interview. It's not like Martha Stewart couldn't have got this for free.
Everyone would love to talk to Martha Stewart. Now, is this a good move on her part? Is this accomplishing anything?
Yeah, I mean, she had to drop out and kind of save the company. So I think that this has been planned for a long time, that she takes herself out of the company and lets somebody else run it while she deals with this. It's probably, all this stuff has come down from her lawyers. It's probably a good move, don't you think?
I guess so, because if anything, it's keeping the people that do have stock in Martha Stewart living Omnimedia. You know, they're loyal to her to begin with. This is going to try to keep their loyalty so she doesn't lose the entire empire.
Right. And again, I don't know how much she's done. You know, she's kind of been judged by a lot of us who really don't understand what the law is on that anyway, just because we have always hated her TV show. But how much illegal and what should it mean, I don't know.
And we'll see exactly how much trouble she's in.
And a lot of the times, this will take a year or two to get out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you talk about this as a publicity stunt. Maybe this is just a publicity stunt by the prosecutors. Maybe they keep themselves in the news for a year or two and then make some small deal with her.
Here's what I always hate. In a case like this, well, they'll tell you what the maximum is she could get. She could get 30 years behind bars.
Right.
And you know she's not going to see a day of jail time, and they tease you with that stuff.
Well, and that's the kind of that these prosecutors are. It's basically like a Kenneth Starr. Every day that stuff is in news. And then finally, what did Bill Clinton get for all that hassle? Nothing. He walked back and did a press conference and went on with his life.
He's been disbarred in Arkansas.
Martha Stewart, you dig her or no, Fez?
No, I don't dig her.
I find her oddly hot. Eric, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, you're on WJFK. What can we do for you?
Oh, man, let me just tell you, I would love to make Martha Stewart my bitch for a day.
Yeah, I think most guys are that way. There's something oddly sexy in the older woman, the mature woman.com thing that they have online. Martha Stewart would be perfect there.
I don't see it. To me, she's as creepy as Phil Spector. Watch her kiss the gun before this thing's over.
All right, if you had to, Martha Stewart or Phil Spector?
Oh, Phil.
All right, let me keep this going.
No.
Phil Spector or Arlen Spector? You have 3 seconds because Nazis have your parents.
Phil Spector. I can't sleep with Arlen Spector, his cousin. Ronnie, Taco Bell losing $30 million in a Chihuahua lawsuit.
I love this story.
So the jury awards $30 million to two marketing execs who claim they came up with the idea for the talking Chihuahua. They said they had even discussed the plans for this thing with Taco Bell a year before they started using it. Taco Bell passes on the idea, uses it anyway. These guys are getting $30 million.
You know what kills me? They could get $30 million from this idea anyway. I mean, what other kind of dog were they going to use besides a Chihuahua?
It makes sense. The original version was a cartoon dog.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and then Taco Bell said, what about a real dog? And we make it look like it's talking.
All right, well then that's...
Wouldn't you love to sit in meetings like that? How effing easy.
McMahon and Tate came in with an idea. They thought a talking Chihuahua, and somehow his wife has this thing ready to go now.
The dog's talking anyway because my mother-in-law put a spell on it.
You know, I was never even that big a fan of that talking Chihuahua.
I love the talking Chihuahua, and then the talking Chihuahua showed up in a car insurance commercial. The one with the lizard.
Yeah, the
Geico.
Yeah, the Geico.
Oh, great, a talking gecko.
So they probably get more money for that too.
So I'm sure this is their idea now.
What was ever that? Remember Budweiser tried to go with that party dog that kind of didn't go that far?
Spuds McKenzie. He's a real party animal.
And then they would start showing up at bars, and people were supposed to go out. You know, Spuds McKenzie would be appearing at spring break.
And then I think the dog got sick.
No, Spuds, no. Cut down that six-pack.
Spuds had to go into a 12-step program.
All right, here you go, Fezzi. Out of all the, mascots that they've ever used for companies, corporate mascots, which has been your favorite?
Probably the Dell dude.
Oh, God.
Now I hate the Dell dude, and I hate the Dell interns even more.
And you know what I loved about that Dell guy is that he got busted down on the Lower East Side for selling loose joints or trying to buy loose joints, and they seemed to be shocked by it.
Oh, yeah, the wholesome Dell dude.
Wasn't he always supposed to be the guy with weed?
He was a stoner. That was his character. I thought they were shooting another ad. He's on his commercial with his weed. I always like the where's the beef lady, too.
What was her name? We used to know her name.
Clara Peller.
Very good. Clara Peller. Where's the beef?
I always liked her. And, of course, I like the old people, the help I've fallen and I can't get up lady.
Oh, I know. And you know what? Again, I think Clara Peller only did 1 or 2 commercials and got that huge. And the help I've fallen I can't get up lady, who I believe was my great-grandmother, she only did the 1 spot as far as I know.
Yeah, that was it.
And that's been a lot of years now. It's been like 20 years. And people still use that line.
Jay Leno will use it on a nightly basis. And she wasn't even just the only thing in that commercial. It was a bunch of different old people, and they had real quick little scenes.
Right, but she was, where the beef? Because basically her voice box was destroyed. Where the beef? And just wearing a crazy wig. I would have loved to seen her unmasked. You know what bothers me? My parents will pick up any kind of commercial thing like that. Like, literally this year, my dad called me and said, dude, I got a Dell. Because he went out and got it, and then kept doing, and even said it to the UPS man. It's the worst when your parents pick up a catchphrase. My mother will still do not. I know. They love the not thing. It won't go away. It's ridiculous. All right, Ronnie, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. We've talked about this before. We have a Ron and Fez update here. Now, this is such a hot couple. They passed Ben Affleck and J-Lo. Now, People magazine has reportedly paid $50,000 for photos of Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, that 70s kid, cuddling. They're going to be in tomorrow's issue on the newsstand. The National Enquirer, my favorite, they've paid $112,000 for a different set of Demi and Ashton pictures. Are we even believing this? Are they really a couple? People have gone insane with this thing now. Here's my belief, Fezzi. We and all these other people are getting punked. This is a variation of Punked, his little TV show. Because I don't see any way that this guy could get her. He's what, 12? And she's 40? I think he's a little older than 12, but she is definitely 40. And she looks great. I saw the pictures of her. She's doing the new Charlie's Angel this year. She looks excellent in those commercials. But how would you like to be Bruce Willis and happen to hear, hey, I heard that your wife is with the kids from the 70s show. Hey, dude, where's your wife? With Ashton Kutcher. They're doing, hey, dude, where's your hair? Hey, dude, where's your wife? And hey, dude, where's your career? All to poor Bruno.
Poor Bruce Willis. Now, is the picture of anyone worth that kind of money? I mean, any couple?
I would pay that kind of money to see Billy Staples turning down a drink. I think that's the big elusive picture that I'm looking for. That's my Bigfoot shot.
I think the only other couple that I think would be worth that kind of money is if you actually had the picture of Monica giving President Clinton the Humsky.
People have emailed me that. I don't know whether it's been doctored, but I have seen that, and another one where you were actually shooting at her skirt.
A lot of those are taken from Bill's perspective.
Right.
All you see is the top of a beret.
Yeah. Well, I see the one that
with a bullseye on it.
And I'm assuming it's Bill and then it's shooting at little Monica's trying to stain her skirt as they go back and forth. Anything new on the big book that we're all waiting to read by Hillary Clinton?
Well, Hillary Clinton's new book, Living History, it's due out in a couple days. Now, Simon & Schuster, that's her publisher. All right, the first lawsuit from the new Hillary book is on its way.
Finally.
Simon & Schuster saying they're going to sue AP for releasing excerpts from this book. You know, all the great quotes we had yesterday where, as a wife, I wanted to wring Bill's neck, and I couldn't breathe. I was gasping for air. They're now saying, you know what? We had deals, with People Magazine, Time Magazine, to run little excerpts from this book, and AP has screwed that up, and they had no permission to do it. AP saying, you know what? This is a story.
Right.
And we got this book through good old-fashioned reporting.
But is that old-fashioned reporting, or are they stealing it?
So that's the question. Did they get a scoop?
All right, let's suppose NBC gets the new U2 album through good old-fashioned reporting and decides to play the whole thing while everyone sits around and listens to it. Or just songs. You really can't do that. You got to hit them with a cease and desist. We do it in radio all the time.
So Simon & Schuster is saying they are screwing up, the sales promotion, the plan, the strategy they had for this book.
Again, I don't know whether I even believe that, Fez. A lot of times, like with records, that's just hype. That's just crazy hype.
On the other side of it, Time Magazine and People, they said they spent $100,000 for the rights to get those excerpts, and they're thinking of backing out on the deal now.
I don't know if I believe any of them. I think we're getting punked. I think it's back to the Ashton Kutcher thing.
Do you think it's going to hurt sales of this book?
Hell no. Who would not buy this book?
See, with me, I've heard all the good parts. I've heard everything I wanted. I don't want to know about her days in the Watergate as a lawyer there, as part of the council.
You only want to read the dirty bits.
Yes, I got them.
But the problem is she was not even part of the dirty bits. She was at home like an idiot. Like a big moron in a pantsuit. So, to me, I'm going to pass. Unless she does the book on tape version, and I want to hear her say it. I want to hear her in her own voice what Bill said to her the day he woke her up in August of '98. She's going to choke up like Fezzi saying goodbye to Rory, reading that thing.
I'm just now pulling myself back together. Where is Rory? That was me getting punked last night, right?
Fezzi got a little punked last night, and we actually went out and drank after the show, and we got an electronic mail about that, Fez.
Ooh, an electronic mail? How does that work? Doesn't the postman get electrocuted?
No, just listen to it this way.
And now, Ron and Fez, the show of the future, brings you...
Electronic mail. Mail sent electronically.
Oh, now I understand.
We went out partying at maybe the scariest bar I've ever been to in my life.
Not since From Dusk Till Dawn have I been in a bar like that.
It was. Honestly, the last time I was in a bar like the one we were in last night, Johnny Ola and Fredo brought me there.
Uh-oh.
Johnny Ola told me about this place. Here's the electronic mail. This is because a lot of listeners came out and drank a little bit with us. This is from ADF, and it simply says, is it just me, or was Fezzi Drinky Drinkerton from Drinkville last night?
Hey!
At least you're a happy drunk, Drinky.
Now that is just mean. It's accurate, but
Yeah.
It's really mean.
You were an effing mess. Me and Mikey had to pour you into the car and then pour your big ass out into the street when we got you home.
I was absolutely lit last night, and By the time I realized it, still in that club, I know I went up to Mikey and said, man, I'm just trash. I'm effing trash, man. By then, it's too late. I had already done shots, which was stupid.
When I got you back to your house, to your door, do you remember me giving you the, hey, let's not cook anything tonight, all right, big man? Why don't we just get some sleep? Because all I could think of you passed out with the gas going.
Now I don't remember that part.
If you do ever want to send us an electronic mail served electronically, it's ronandfez@AOL.com, and we'll give it a read on the air. Fezzy, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Geraldo said the weapons of mass destruction don't exist, but the war was a great thing. You got to hear this story.
What?
You're listening to Ron and Fez on WJFK.